really, really sick as a dog for the last 5 days. But to get right into it, today was one of the highest usages of X or Twitter in history, and there's good reason for that. And nobody can really wait for the updates of what is going on right now because this is so massive. You absolutely know that people are afraid right now. You see a ton of videos being put out by young people talking about the draft. This happens when we get these kind of really, really big, war ticks. But this is the biggest one we've ever had. Just a side note on that matter. If we do go to war, we'll have a draft. Every major country that's gone into war has had them. Obviously, with the U.S., we've had issues with recruitment. So that's like an immediate, absolute draft. Now, would we have that for Iran? No. And Iran is a stepping stone. It is a domino. It is something that we had to knock down as part of this huge, huge thing that's going on. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Everything that is happening at once. If people are not, if people are not privy to the stuff that this community watches every day, that has been falling for the last few years, some of the technologies, some of the things that other countries are doing, it really just shows you that people don't know. When you see comments on Twitter, there was a huge, huge deal about this video on Twitter showing people, this like kind of a infographic style breakdown of like that we have nukes in Wyoming, nukes in North Dakota, and where our bases are. And everybody's like, why would you share this? And everybody's posting memes like, Russia, China, and Iran writing notes. And they're literally like, why would you share this? Our enemies can watch this. And like hundreds of these people think that China or Russia don't know where all of these bases are, that they don't know everything that's going on in our country, that they don't have infiltrated people at the highest levels of government. There's a reason Venezuela was getting updates before we even did it. It's because they wanted them to get updates. And it's almost funny looking back because you were getting these updates of kind of what was going on from Venezuela, not from the US. And then you look and you go, well, what is purposefully leaked and what is accidentally leaked? And that, again, there's things that they purposely leak because they know we are infiltrated. So in fact, they've done the oldest trick in the book many, many times. This is seen in movies. It's seen in TVs where you tell three people three different things. And essentially, they're just a little bit different. And you see which one gets out. And say, you tell person A that it's 100. Tell person B it's 150. Tell person C it's 200. And then somebody goes, hey, we heard you had 200 there. You know which person ended up telling that because of the amount, right? Well, there's certain rumors that have been leaked on purpose, and you end up knowing who ended up leaking them. Well, as far as this goes, I think that they were purposely leaking a whole lot of stuff during Venezuela. I think they were leaking a lot of stuff during Iran. And of course, I would be watching in the next year right now for a lot of other kinds of leaks. Now, as far as what is absolutely crazy to me is that people are not connecting the dots, that this is incredibly strange, that they're going to be releasing or somehow doing this big disclosure. They're going to be talking about aliens and UFOs at the same time that all of a sudden in the last couple of months, they've been like, we're going to bag Mars for a few years and we're going to immediately start doing a moon base. They changed the whole moon mission. They said, instead of landing on it, we're going to muscle memory and go around it. And then people also don't realize what has been going on in space. There's been a lot of classified payloads. We're talking about payloads that have been going up into space like left and right, and nobody knows what the hell they are. Mind you, the new warfare is essentially space-based weapons and things that we don't even know about yet. Now, in Venezuela, when they were able to turn off everything or distract and destroy, all of these things that happened was unheard of. They just switched the lights off like it was our country. Now, in Iran, supposedly they ended up sending signals and these tiny missiles or tiny drones that ended up sending a signal that portrayed itself as a jet. So to the enemy radars, they're seeing like 100 jets flying their way, a whole fleet, and they were confused. So when the real jets came in, they had no idea what was going on. On top of that, they keep talking about the ability just to be able to switch stuff off. Now, here's what I want people to think about. I know a lot of people have a lot of faith in the people that run this world, but many of us don't. And honestly, if you look at the long-term thing that we've been following for a very long time, it seems like it is leading up to something. If they have the power to do that to another country, they have the power to do it to our country. They could do a fantastic Freddy event. They could turn basically everything off, reset everything, and when the ashes kind of fall and when all the dust settles, you will have a certain kind of you'll have a certain situation arise when that is all done. Now, everything that is going on right now, this is a perfect excuse for a cyber attack on our country. And absolutely, you could say that it could legitimately be people in Iran or teams in Iran or North Korea or China. China has an excuse to do it because they're like, hey, they're going to think it's Iran. They could even center it out of Iran. Russia has an excuse to do it. All of them have an excuse to do it. But, well, if you did have a plan, and if you do in the back of your mind have a plan, have a mind on you to think that possibly, just possibly, any country in this world could do something horrible to their own country to further a goal or an agenda. We've seen this happen before. I don't know if most of you are on that tip or not, but or further, laws or further acts or further, certain things that changed our entire life, right? And if you look at what's been going on right now with space, this is absolutely something that everybody is in the dark on. I mean, literally, we do not know what is going on right now in many, many cases. In Iran, with everything that's going on, they're telling us that they've just like wiped out, decimated at least 9 of their warships. The president said that he is sinking almost all of Iran's navy. It's looking like just a toast run. Like they're just wiping them out, decimating them all in one go. Meanwhile, you do still see videos of missiles hitting in different places. Supposedly, they're still firing back. Even with the top 40 people gone, they are still firing back on different targets. Now, most of these targets were evacuated back when we covered it on February 14th, 10 days before this, or 14 days before any of this went down. So there were very little losses of life in our bases in Bahrain, where the Fifth Fleet is, in Al-Qaeda, I think it's called, not Al-Qaeda. You guys know what I'm talking about, Al-Qaeda or whatever it's called. All of these bases were mostly evacuated by the time that this hit, and that's because they have intelligence and they know exactly what's going to happen next. And that's another thing, that the technologies we have been hearing about, this is something that people think is silly. People are going to literally go, okay, we're talking about mind control. We're talking about frequencies. We're talking about stuff that people have been way far off on, like the edge on, that people think are just nuts, like, they're talking to themselves kind of thing. People have been talking about that for years, and now we are finally at the point where you have to actually have some sort of legitimate questions about this kind of stuff, because now the world is literally run by social media algorithms that have been weaponized. You literally have new systems put into place across the planet that are just a couple megahertz or a couple things off from really, really messed up kind of things. So you have to wonder, is there some sort of broad, way bigger plan? Because they understand that people are not going to just willingly march into this dystopian future that is going to be easier for the governing half of the planet. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in space that tells me that they have the ability to just switch off the lights, and they could point the finger any direction. And even a day in New York, it ended up destroying a neighborhood forever. I can only imagine if we had 3 days in the entire United States where all of our power went out. And that's the thing. This has been told to us over 10 years straight over and over again, longer than that, that our main vulnerability is our decaying power grid. Years and years and years. We need to fix this. We need to fix this. And it's so crazy to me that obviously we spend $1 trillion every year to beef up our military, but we're not spending anything on something so critical as far as infrastructure. Now they are doing certain things. They're doing things with EMP shield and things like that, but it really makes you wonder, like, what the hell is going on here? Like, how are we in this position right now where all of this craziness is going on? And first of all, we're in World War III, as I said. This is the president of our country essentially not waiting for a World War III to come to us, because I believe it was imminent. They were going after all of these other places. And honestly, I have to even question my own thoughts on this, because right now there are so many weird things happening. Disclosures of aliens, like what the hell? They have, of course, they have Iran being taken out right now, Cuba, possibly a friendly takeover. You have North Korea in some sort of weird switch. Japan is now militarizing and totally switching their constitution, which we've been predicting for 5 years, because it was like a slow train and now it's here. You have, of course, China absolutely preparing for something massive, and it's all in the same timeline that we have been told for years. So how, if this is supposed to be something organic that just happened after dominoes are tipping, how in the world is it lining up for the exact timeline that we've been talking about for years? It's not because we had a crystal ball. It's because you can't hide certain things when there's that much planning involved. And I'm sorry, there's something here, something massive. It's another angle too is this is multifaceted. You're talking about, you could have an event where you have bio events happen in our country. You have, of course, all of us being told that they're finding labs, they're having people smuggle in things, that they're doing this, this, and this. You have countries possibly purposely leaking out to YouTube channels that, we want 100 of your, biosuits or whatever. We want 100 of your I'm sorry, I'm sick. I'm forgetting the dang word. The freaking full on, hazmat suits. And they're calling the 2 million subscriber channel and telling him, oh no, you don't worry about an NDA. You can tell everybody. I'm not saying they said that, but again, like, you would think you're literally calling and buying hazmat suits from a YouTuber that talks about this stuff. If you didn't want it to be talked about, you would tell them, right? Canadian YouTuber, Canadian prepper, if you guys don't know, had a huge order from the Canadian government. At the same time, Canada, Mexico, in all sorts of craziness. Canada actually had almost all of their tariffs either reversed or lifted temporarily. You have Mexico having all of this crazy stuff with the cartels. You have all the way down to Venezuela. Colombia got mixed up in this. And everybody thinks that these are all separate things. These are all connected, including the alien disclosure. And it goes back to that. And I, for years, have kind of just rolled my eyes at the whole, like, they were going to do a blue beam type thing. And if there was a force that we all had to unify against and be under one thing, one umbrella to fight off this other thing, that sounded crazy. But look at where we are right now. They're talking about disclosure. They have spent 5 years talking about anti-gravitic propulsion and that we have biologic matter in our freaking thing and that Congress meetings have been focused on aliens. It is literally set the stepping stone for some sort of disclosure that aliens are coming or that something else is going on. And I go back to, what if that's the cover for some sort of actual asteroid that's coming and the rich are going to go off to the moon and wait it out? I don't know. These all sounded crazy years ago, but how crazy do they sound now? How crazy does any of this sound? Look at what has already happened. People thought it would be crazy that we would have this thing in 2019 that arguably most people see that it wasn't what they said it was. And if you look at that kind of coordination, if you are on a certain page, then you go, holy crap. And remember, the six countries that didn't exactly collaborate had a quick change of heart or leadership, very quick, and they never came back, never went home, went to sleep forever. So you get my point. There is a lot going on right now, and it's all happening at once. And mind you, I just want to give you guys an update. There was an event in Texas, obviously last night. That was a big thing. Everybody's seen video. Most people are on X right now because the news is going to show you a clip and go, this happened. And then everybody's going to be talking about, oh, I saw the video of it. It was horrendous. There's horrible videos out there right now of the Texas bar that got hit at 2 a.m. The guy that hit it, obviously, most of you already know the story. The guy was mad about Khamenei. At least that's what they're saying. And then they just said that an update today, there's another event where 14 may have been affected in Ohio. So OHIO, I'm praying for you. And yeah, so, you know, when you talk about people like Sarah Adams and what she's talked about, you know, she's ex-CIA. So us as regular people, we're like, yeah, well, is she ex? Is she current? Is this on purpose? Is not? But she has a point. So the thing is, with all of this happening, there's other groups at hand, and those other groups have questionable ties to clandestine services, and they get their money from somewhere, right? And when you cut out the traditional money structure like Venezuela, Iran, and all of these other parties, you start to wonder, like, how are these groups still going? And these groups are essentially doing things. This is the crazy part. So I heard about this from an actual person. People on Twitter were arguing with Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams said that there were certain things being used. That same stuff that's making people zombies at Walmart, they're adding something into it, allegedly adding something into it that is a stimulant or something that essentially makes it so they don't feel pain, they're aggressive, all of these things. And these people, the sleepers or the folks that they're actually doing this, they are either taking that for this or other substances to essentially pull these things off. Now, I'm not saying the Texas guy didn't. I don't know anything about the Ohio one yet. But one thing I did hear about before, though, the last year, stuff has been coming overseas from different places. And this is literally them taking this stuff to go just totally aggro on it. And this is something we talked about with Neurostrike, that countries now potentially have the ability to put things in that could be ingested, that could even, I mean, we know about like truth serums and things, and supposedly that the CIA has things that could make you, basically lose your inhibitions and tell people things. But we're talking about things that are, I wouldn't even say genetically modified, lab designed to literally control your brain. And that sounds crazy until you look into Neurostrike. Look at the peer-reviewed papers for it. All of this is going on at once. And you think about that and you go, man, you could turn anybody and everybody into a freaking soldier of whatever country has this tech. And all they would have to do was drink a drink or go get their normal checkup and, something get put in, and then boom, they're completely another person. And that sounds sci-fi, but unfortunately, it is no longer sci-fi. Go do your own research on it. I'm not saying go to a YouTube channel like mine or do this. Literally go look at the peer-reviewed papers. We even talked to LJ Eads on our show, one of the 3 that was in this peer-reviewed paper. And it is nuts. It's scary to think about the kind of stuff that they have. They can literally mind control people with the internet, and people aren't realizing this. We're talking about quantum computing neural nets that are most likely existing that literally can shape a world around us by what we see. And if you don't think that's a thing, just realize how customized each and every one of your phones is. That's not just for advertising. The connections between advertising media and the government have always been extremely tight. So yeah, it's insane. All of the things that are happening right now. how this disclosure thing pops in, man. I don't know how it's exactly going to pop in, but you think that they're here, they're in the Situation Room talking about Iran, and they're like, you know what? Let's also disclose about aliens. Like, how does that happen? I mean, it's just wild. Iran has hit multiple targets in multiple places. We're gonna hear over the next couple days that they're being decimated. I sure hope they are, because they were an ally of China, and they did have superiority in a few areas. And I know that from our military group members. They're saying that these drones really put us off kilter. But obviously, people weren't accounting for our crazy, insane technology that we most likely already have in space. The China triplets, the things that have been launched up into space, there's all sorts of odd things going on with these launches. So people really got to pay attention, because right now we are in that time zone. And the one thing that most I believe is most likely is a cyber attack or a grid down scenario, and people need to pay attention, because it is going to be an absolute hell if it happens. Thank you so much, Renee Alera. It's been a while. Hey, nice to see you, and thank you so much for your support. I appreciate that. Thank you, Renee Alera. It's nice to see you in chat. I hope you guys go check out the website. Make sure to go check out EMP Shield. That's something that will actually protect your cars and trucks against an EMP. You can also protect your generators and stuff like that. One thing that we wouldn't be able to protect against, that one will make you at ease for Carrington level events from the sun and EMP from an adversary. But cyber events, that's something that could be done by anybody. And it could turn off the lights temporarily, point a finger, and then have a complete reason to do all sorts of other things. And, I bet even a few of you 5-10 years ago, you might not have thought that this is possible. But at this point, who's really in the bag that sounds impossible. Right now, everything is going at breakneck speed. All of these countries getting taken out at once. This is World War III, people. Wake up. We are decimating an entire navy of another country, and it hasn't even gone through Congress. So if you think that they're going to wait for other things, let me tell you, it's not going to happen. And whatever the hell is going on, I don't know if it is a good thing or a bad thing, but I want to be on the positive side and say, hey, they were about to attack us, so he ended up taking out the rug from under their feet. I sure hope that's what's happening. But I have questions, and people should never stop asking. Never put blind faith into people you don't know that really have no intention of saving your lives. In fact, every disaster that happens, we are last on the docket. In fact, they're like, hey, turn around and go back into the fire. How about not, buddy? That's what they think of us. They're more concerned about their $12,000 dresses that they can wear to Congress meetings. Right? Well, we are still trying to figure out how to fix our $12,000, Toyota and get it running, right? So yeah, there are representatives, and they don't represent us. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I will see you tomorrow on our normal show. I feel good enough that we will return to normal shows tomorrow night. Thank you, Renee Alera. Today's show is dedicated to you. Be safe, be prepared. And Marf out. Thanks to the mods, anybody that showed up tonight. And I appreciate you. Share this far and wide. Most of all, have a plan.